Nazi goal was also to expunge the Judeo-Christian Muslim doctrine of human divine origins from mainline German theology and its schools. Replace it with what? With Darwin. And Darwinism was openly accepted in the German schools, in the textbooks. It was taught, and by the way, it is also now taught in American schools. We fought case after case, basically saying, at least could we present the other side? And the courts have said, no, you can't, because any evidence against Darwinism is indirect, backdoor teaching of creation. See, that's what the courts have ruled. So you can't teach backdoor creation. You must teach evolution as fact. And of course, this whole museum, what's the problem? When they look at these displays, the fossils and so on, which don't show evolution, this example over here of what they call the progression, that's a good example. I did a whole article on that. The progression, of course, doesn't show evolution. It shows that indeed we have a chasm between us and primates and other primates. Okay, and Darwin's book, The Origin of Species, or The Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Darwin's book, this is the 1859 book, his second book that came up, the follow-up of this, The Evolution of Man, the Descent of Man, clearly are racist books. You can't read those without knowing that their implications are clear. And I wrote a whole book about Charles Darwin, The Dark Side, and this is the only book ever written about the dark side of Charles Darwin. I have in my library hundreds of books about Charles Darwin, most biographies, one autobiography, and all of those books are laudatory. You have the negative stuff there. It's not totally censored. It's partially, but not totally censored. But in reading a lot of books, I found there's a lot of the other side of Charles Darwin. He was a very nasty guy in many ways. And his major goal developing his theory of evolution was religious. In fact, his own words were, it's like committing a murder. He wanted to murder God. How do you murder God? Why do people believe in God? If you ask people why they believe in God, then in fact just the other day a conversation came up and they said, well, look at the wonders of creation, the animals, the life, the plants, the trees, the stars, the planets, the human body. All of these things are evidence of design. If there's a creation, there must be a creator. So the reason people believe in God is because there's a creation that is all around us. That's pretty obvious. There's a creation, so therefore there has to be a creator. If there's a painting, there must be a painter. So therefore you have to basically destroy the relationship between the creation and the creator. And you do that by coming up with another creator. And that's what Darwin's life was devoted to. He had to come up with another creator. And the creator was evolution. Natural selection of variation produced by what? What's that word? Natural selection of variation produced by mistakes or by chance? Mutations. Mutations. Okay, well, they're mistakes. But we like a scientific term. And the scientific term is mutations. When I was at the medical school, that's all I studied was mutations, because mutations cause cancer. And so if you understand mutations, you understand cancer. And so we looked at the mutations, so I learned a lot about mutations. And one thing I learned there was that they're not good. They're bad, invariably. You have a few that are good in certain situations, but that's another talk. And Goebbels wrote in his diary in 1939, the Fuhrer is deeply anti-Christian. He regards Christianity as a symptom of decay, and rightly so. And so a lot of people today, or at least some people, the atheists, try to claim that Hitler was a Christian. He made a lot of statements which may seem to appear that he was, but he was also a politician. And by the way, we must admit he was a good politician. You can criticize Hitler on many grounds, but he was a good politician. And he said what the audience wanted to hear. And he therefore talked about his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, etc., because, well, that resonated with the audiences. But this is why this statement came from Goebbels, because this is what he told to his close associates. And he also worshiped having children.